shot and killed after a deadly fight erupted in front of Monaco Hookah Lounge. Two men approached King Von and his group in the parking lot, and an argument ensued. The argument quickly escalating to a shootout between the two groups.
Prepare yourselves. What you're about to witness isn't just news, it's a seismic shift in understanding one of modern music's most tragic moments. Recently unearthed, raw, heart-stopping footage captures the final conscious moments of King Von's life, painting. A picture so vivid, so visceral, it forces us to question everything we thought we knew. This isn't just a clip. It's a key unlocking a deeper, more complex reality of that fatal Atlanta night. The grainy visuals have sent shockwaves globally, reigniting fierce debate and demanding a fresh look at the chaos, the confrontation, and the devastating finality of Von's end. The story of King Von, born David Daquan Bennett, is inextricably linked to the gritty realism of Chicago's South Side, specifically the Parkway Garden homes, better known as O Block. This environment, notorious for its harsh realities and cycles of violence, became the crucible that forged Von's identity and the primary subject of his music. He emerged as a potent voice in the drill music scene, a subgenre known for its dark, menacing beats and lyrics that often mirrored the street conflicts and survival tactics of its artist neighborhoods. Von distinguished himself with a unique narrative ability, spinning intricate, often chilling tales of street life with the detail and pacing of a novelist. Tracks like Crazy Story and Took Her to the O weren't just songs. They were vignettes, cinematic glimpses into a world many listeners could only imagine. His delivery was sharp, his flow confident, and his authenticity undeniable. He spoke of loyalty, betrayal, loss, and the constant threat of danger with a directness that resonated deeply with his fan base and garnered respect, even fascination from those outside his immediate circle. He wasn't just rapping about O-Block. He was O-Block, embodying its spirit, its struggles, and its defiant pride. This deep connection to his roots was both his strength and, tragically, a factor in the circumstances that would lead to his untimely death. His rise was meteoric, marked by successful mixtapes like Grandson Voller.
Right.
Well, what parts of the body?
I get shot in my right hip bone, and I get shot on my ass. I go in and out, though.
Okay, so this is now the second time you've gotten shot.
Yeah, that's the second time I done got shot.
Are you more calm about it this time since you've gone through it before?
Yeah, because like the first time I got shot, I didn't even have a panic attack. I was calm. So it's like this time, I knew like do the same thing.
And his debut studio album, Welcome to O Block, released just a week before his passing. He was on the cusp of superstardom, transitioning from a regional phenomenon to a nationally recognized artist. Yet the shadows of the streets he so vividly depicted seemed to follow him. The night of November 6, 2020 began like many others for a rising star enjoying the fruits of his labor. Atlanta, a bustling hub for the music industry, was the backdrop. King Von and his crew had spent part of the evening at the Opium nightclub, soaking in the atmosphere. Later in the early hours, they decided to move the gathering to the Monaco Hookah Lounge. The air was likely thick with music, conversation, and the energy that follows artists of Von's stature. Eyewitness accounts and reports suggest a relatively normal evening unfolding, albeit one carrying the undercurrents of existing tensions within the rap world. These tensions, often fueled by social media, lyrical disses, and real-world allegiances, are an unfortunate but persistent feature of the landscape. In this case, the simmering friction was reportedly between King Von's camp and the circle associated with Georgia rapper Quando Rondo. As the clock ticked past 3 a.m., the scene shifted from the lounge's interior to the parking lot outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge. This transition point from relative sanctuary to the unpredictable open space of the street became the stage for the tragedy surveillance footage pieced together with eyewitness accounts depicts the moments leading up to the fatal confrontation. King Von, distinctively dressed in all white, is seen approaching Quando Rondo's group. What began as a verbal exchange, according to reports, quickly escalated. Footage appears to show Von striking a man believed to be Quando Rondo. This act, a physical manifestation of the underlying conflict, was the spark that ignited the powder keg. In the world Von came from, and the one often depicted in his music, such confrontations could escalate with terrifying speed. Respect, perceived disrespect, and the need to maintain face are powerful motivators, often overriding concerns for personal safety or legal.
Of King Von killing all these people. And it's just like person after person. I don't know whether any of it's true. I haven't actually watched it.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. YouTube, and all these people who think they know about all this shit, don't know what the fuck they talking about. If you wasn't a part of this realm, you just like the motherfuckers on YouTube. All these motherfuckers be talking people name. You don't know what the fuck happened, bro.
Consequences. The code of the street, unwritten but strictly enforced, often demands immediate response. The response came in the form of gunfire. In the immediate aftermath of Von striking the individual, chaos erupted. Timothy Leeks, also known as Lil Tim or Lil Tim, an associate of Quando Rondo, allegedly drew a firearm. Authorities stated that Leeks acted swiftly, firing shots that struck King Von the parking lot moments before, filled with tension, transformed into a scene of pandemonium. Multiple shots rang out, and in the ensuing confusion, security, personnel, and potentially others exchanged fire. When the smoke cleared, 6 individuals had been wounded, including Von. The suddenness and brutality of the violence were shocking. Von, despite his severe injuries, was rushed to a nearby hospital. Reports were contradictory and confusing, and with conflicting information circulating rapidly on social media regarding the number of casualties and the identities of those involved. This fog of information only added to the distress and anxiety of fans and observers trying to piece together what had happened. Despite the urgent medical attention he received, King Von's injuries proved too severe. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, cutting short a life and career brimming with potential. The news sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community and beyond. The themes present in King Von's music often revolved around the very realities that played out in his final moments. Frequently rapped about the dangers of street life, the importance of loyalty to one's crew, the concept of standing one's ground, and the potential for sudden violent ends. Lines from his songs could almost serve as commentary on the incident. He often spoke about the risks involved in confrontations, the need to be vigilant, and the consequences of actions taken in the heat of the moment. While we can only speculate on his exact thoughts, his musical catalog provides a lens through which to view the mindset perhaps prevalent that night. A world where disputes could escalate fatally, where reputation was paramount, and where survival often depended on split-second decisions. He might have seen the confrontation.
Video, the police was saying that we seen you shoot, like told the old block members, we seen you shoot. So I'm like, so it was just a whole people just shooting, blinded, just shooting, hiding behind cars, just letting off shots, man.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess because Von died, Slutty died, 100K Track gets shot in the leg, Louis gets shot in the head, Lil Tim gets shot multiple times, coloscopy.
As a necessary assertion of dominance or a defense of his honor, reflecting the codes he chronicled in his art. His lyrics painted pictures of navigating treacherous environments, and tragically, his life ended in a scenario that could have been pulled directly from one of his own crazy stories. The narrative arc of his life seemed to tragically fulfill the prophecies embedded within his own work. The recent release of previously unseen footage showing King Von wounded in the immediate aftermath of the shooting brought the stark reality of that night back into sharp focus. This footage, described as raw and emotionally charged, bypasses the speculation and reporting, offering a direct, unfiltered glimpse of the human cost of the violence. Seeing Von in those vulnerable moments reignited discussions about the specific sequence of events, the actions of everyone involved, and the sheer tragedy of the situation. For fans, it was a painful reminder of their loss. For commentators, it prompted a re-examination of the narrative. Did the footage confirm existing accounts? Did it challenge them? Did it offer new perspectives on the chaos of the moment? Regardless of the specific details gleaned, its primary impact was emotional, driving home the brutal finality of the event and sparking renewed calls for understanding, accountability, and reflection on the cycles of violence that plague not just the music industry, but society at large. It forced viewers to confront the person behind the persona, the human being caught in a devastating situation, stripped of the bravado and fame. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, the Atlanta Police Department launched an investigation. Timothy Leeks was quickly identified as the primary suspect in King Von's shooting and was arrested while undergoing treatment for a gunshot wound sustained during the incident. He was charged with felony murder. This charge often applies when someone is killed during the commission of another felony, even if the killing itself wasn't premeditated. The legal process, however, took a significant turn. For months, the case proceeded through the initial stages. Then, in August 2023, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office
and like stay calm and just make sure I get to the hospital.
Okay, so a shootout now happens. And a lot of people are starting to get hit. So King Von had a guy named Slutty. He gets killed by the police. King Von's manager, 100K, Track.
Dropped the murder charges against Leeks. While official statements often remain guarded, reports and legal analysts widely suggested that the decision was likely based on Georgia's self-defense statutes, potentially including the Stand Your Ground law. This law and similar self-defense arguments generally posits that an individual has the right to use deadly force if they reasonably believe it necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to themselves or another person. In this context, the argument would likely be that Leeks fired in defense of Quando Rondo, whom Von had just physically assaulted. The lack of a grand jury indictment and the subsequent dismissal of charges were met with significant controversy and outcry, particularly from King Von's family, friends, and vast fan base. Many felt that justice had not been served, questioning the interpretation of the events and the application of the self-defense laws. The decision highlighted the complexities and often contentious nature of self-defense claims, especially in high-profile cases involving street altercations. The legal conclusion left many feeling unsatisfied, fueling debates about the fairness of the justice system and the value placed on lives lost to violence. The death of King Von represents more than just the loss of a talented artist. It serves as a grim reminder of the real-world consequences often intertwined with the narratives of street life glorified in certain genres of music. His authentic storytelling resonated because it reflected a reality he lived, but that same reality ultimately claimed his life. His legacy includes a body of work that captured a specific time and place with uncanny detail, influencing a generation of artists and listeners. Yet it's also a cautionary tale about the cyclical nature of violence, the difficulty of escaping one's past, and the fine line between depicting street life and becoming consumed by it. The leaked footage, arriving years later, doesn't necessarily change the known facts of what happened, but it profoundly changes how it's perceived, adding a layer of visceral human tragedy that transcends headlines and legal arguments. It forces
Von would go on Twitter and tweet about it. Oh, so-and-so got shot. I wonder who did it. Like, you know what I mean? He was putting stuff out there. That type of thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he was dry snitching on himself.
According to Traplo Ross, King Von killed 7 people. King Doc, Dirty Rel, Modell, P5, Lil James, Malcolm Stuckey, and He Feels KI.
a renewed confrontation with the loss and the unresolved questions that linger. The story of King Von remains a complex tapestry of talent, environment, choices, and ultimately, tragedy. The conversation surrounding King Von, his life, his music, and the circumstances of his death continues to evolve, especially with new elements like the recent footage coming to light. There's so much more to unpack, analyze, and discuss about his impact and the world he represented. If you want to stay updated on stories like this, dive deeper into the narratives shaping music and culture, and explore the complex realities behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future videos where we break down the events and legacies that matter. Join the community, and let's keep the discussion going. The finality of King Von's death, brought into sharp relief by the leaked footage and the legal proceedings conclusion, did not signify an end to his story or his impact. In fact, his presence continued to loom large, both musically and through the complex web of relationships and rivalries that defined his world. His influence persisted, echoing not only in headphones and playlists, but also in the turbulent aftermath that rippled outwards from that fatal night in Atlanta. Even in death, King Von's voice refused to be silenced. It became known that he had been incredibly prolific during his time in the studio, leaving behind a vast and valuable archive reportedly containing over 300 unreleased songs. This treasure trove of music became his posthumous testament. His estate and management team carefully took on the significant responsibility of curating this legacy, strategically and respectfully releasing tracks and projects to both satisfy his enduringly devoted fan base and solidify his artistic contributions for posterity. These posthumous releases, dropped periodically since his passing, consistently gained significant traction, climbing charts and generating buzz, demonstrating the lasting power of his gritty storytelling and his unique, commanding grip on the drill sound. This careful cultivation...
I think ultimately, King Von underestimated Quando Rondo. He just thought, okay, I'm just going to go smack him up a little bit because I'm King Von and I allegedly have all these bodies and everyone's scared of me and whatever else.
Maybe because like he been around him. He probably already know because he done made him say fuck 63rd and all this. So he probably already know he was a little goofy, but he probably ain't never met Lil Tim.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I talked to Quando Rondo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Of his unreleased work has kept his name not just remembered, but actively relevant, and his influence palpable within the genre he helped shape. The culmination of this ongoing effort is being felt right now, with the highly anticipated release of a brand new posthumous album arriving this very month, April 2025. This release serves as a powerful testament not only to the sheer volume and quality of the musical material Von left behind, but also to the unwavering, enduring hunger among listeners for his authentic voice and vivid narratives. However, the aftermath of Von's passing wasn't solely confined to musical tributes and legacy building. His death tragically poured gasoline on the already volatile fire of conflict between associated factions within the rap scene, most notably escalating. The intense rivalry between Lil Durk's Only the Family, OTF Collective, with whom Von was inextricably linked, and NBA Youngboy's Never Broke Again, 4KT crew, connected to Quando Rondo and Timothy Leeks. What had previously simmered as a war of words, social media threats, and menacing postures online boiled over with frightening intensity. A grim and predictable pattern emerged in the months and years that followed. Diss tracks laden with increasingly overt threats and deeply personal veiled references would surface online, often followed by eruptions of real-world violence that seemed ripped directly from the hyper-violent narratives the artists themselves chronicled in their music. This deadly cycle took a particularly tragic and widely reported turn with the murder of Quando Rondo's cousin, an act frequently whispered and speculated upon in street circles and online forums as being direct retaliation stemming from King Von's death. This event, alongside other incidents of violence linked to the feud, further underscored the dangerous, tangible reality underpinning these conflicts. The consequences inevitably reverberated beyond the streets, drawing significant legal scrutiny. Lil Durk himself found himself facing substantial legal challenges, including widely reported federal charges stemming from investigations into
You have certain people who like they're part of it because they want to be down, but they don't really want to kill people.
Yeah.
He seems like no, he got the game plan
Suicide
for gang
bomber.
banging, and he said, "Oh nah, like I'm gonna like it's like a religious person who follows the Bible 100% versus a religious person who's just kind of like yeah I believe in this whatever." Like he fucking took the gang war so literally.
That motherfucker right there was crazy.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was top.
Incidents potentially connected to this period of heightened conflict and alleged gang activity. As of April 2025, these serious legal entanglements continue to cast a long shadow, serving as a stark reminder of the severe real-world repercussions that follow these ongoing hostilities. Hostilities that were undeniably intensified and arguably reached a point of no return following Von's killing, alongside the official accounts provided by law enforcement and the narratives documented through legal proceedings and mainstream reporting. The digital ether became fertile ground for a host of alternative theories and persistent speculations regarding the precise circumstances of King Von's death, fueled by a potent mix of grief, deep-seated suspicion, the inherent chaos of the event itself, and perhaps the human desire for simpler or sometimes more sinister explanations than a spontaneous altercation turned deadly. These narratives spread like wildfire through online communities, dedicated forums, and social media comment sections. Some theories propose that the fatal confrontation outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge wasn't a chance encounter gone wrong, but rather a meticulously planned, premeditated setup, although the alleged masterminds and their supposed motives varied wildly depending on the source of the speculation. Fingers were pointed in various directions, including internally. Some fringe theories, amplified online, even went so far as to suggest betrayal by close associates. with names like Lil Durk sometimes surfacing amidst unsubstantiated claims of jealousy over Von's rapid artistic and commercial ascent. Explosive allegations lacking any credible evidence, but finding traction among certain segments of listeners drawn to conspiracy. Another prominent, though entirely unconfirmed, narrative gained significant traction following controversial public statements made by fellow rapper Asian Doll, who shared a close relationship with Von. She publicly questioned the official account, suggesting that the fatal shots might have actually come not from Lil Tim, Timothy Leeks, but potentially from responding police officers during the chaotic, multi-party shootout that
popped off in the way they thought that they were going to pop off, and I guess Von just thought he was going to run around and bully and shoot everyone. Like, I dread to think what would have happened if Tim wasn't there. They might have killed Quando.
Maybe. Yeah, I wasn't aware that Slutty and Louis actually pulled out guns, because when I interviewed Louis, he said he doesn't remember anything.
I mean, I could see that.
I could see why. I mean, now in retrospect, I can see why he would answer that way. But he got shot in the head and went into a coma for 2 months.
This is kind of unrelated, but this is something I just want to point out because I don't feel like people have paid attention to this, but there's something
erupted in the parking lot, while Atlanta authorities consistently maintained that Leeks fired the shots that struck and killed Von, and the subsequent legal proceedings centered entirely on Leeks until the charges were ultimately dropped. These alternative viewpoints and pieces of counter-narrative continue to persist online. It remains crucial, however, to underscore that none of these alternative theories, whether involving premeditation, alleged betrayal, or questions about the source of the gunfire, have been officially confirmed or substantiated by the evidence gathered and presented during the investigation. They exist largely within the realm of online speculation, reflecting the enduring confusion, the inherent mistrust of official narratives in some communities, and the persistent, often painful search for answers and closure that invariably follows such high-profile, tragic, and violently contested events. Out from the immediate aftermath and the swirling online discourse, King Von's entire life story reads like a complex modern urban tragedy, a compelling narrative of immense, raw talent striving against the odds to overcome a deeply challenging and often violent past. His journey was remarkable, taking him from periods of significant incarceration, facing serious felony charges that could have easily foreclosed any possibility of a future, let alone stardom, to the dizzying heights of national rap prominence. He discovered in music a powerful outlet, a means to process his lived experiences, articulate the realities of his environment, and share his world with a growing audience, ultimately gaining widespread acclaim for the very authenticity that was forged in the crucible of hardship and street survival. There were clear indications both in his actions and his stated ambitions that he genuinely sought to transcend the cycles of violence that had marked his earlier life. He was focused on his burgeoning career, on providing for his children and family, and on building a lasting legacy through his art. Yet his death at the tragically young age of 26 serves as a stark and painful illustration of how profoundly difficult it can be to fully escape the gravitational pull of one's past environment, associations, and the deeply ingrained conflicts embedded within certain segments of the music culture he inhabited. His sudden and violent end didn't just silence a uniquely compelling and influential storyteller in the landscape of contemporary hip-hop. It also forced a broader, often uncomfortable but necessary conversation within the music industry and its vast, diverse fan base. His death reignited critical questions about the true nature of loyalty, the immense pressures artists face to maintain street credibility even after achieving mainstream success, the responsibilities that come with influence, and the often dangerously blurred lines between entertainment, artistic expression, and real-world consequences. His story continues to provoke vital discussion about the pathways available, or lack thereof, for individuals genuinely seeking redemption from violent beginnings and the complex systemic issues, poverty, lack of opportunity, cycles of trauma that contribute significantly to such tragic outcomes. King Von's legacy, therefore, is inherently twofold: a powerful, resonant musical catalog that continues to connect with listeners worldwide, and a life story that serves simultaneously as both a testament to resilience and potential, and a profound, sobering cautionary tale about the price of the street. streets. The conversation surrounding King Von, his life, his music, the raw footage of his final moments, and the circumstances of his death continues to evolve, fueled by posthumous releases, ongoing rivalries, and the enduring search for understanding. There's always more to unpack, analyze, and discuss about his undeniable impact and the complex world he represented. If you want to stay plugged into stories like this, dive deeper into the narratives shaping music and culture today, and explore the often harsh realities hidden behind the headlines, then make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss an update, and become part of the community. Let's continue to explore these important stories together.